that's not as crucial. It's the rebranding thing. I know they'd be like, what? We rebranded. It still needed a lot of our staff too, so.
So yeah, so you did read that article.
Yeah, I thought it was great actually. I had read the one because I had spoken to some of the staff there about the recalls.
Right.
And then when I pulled it up in the related links, and also I have a Google alert set for
that.
Stories that are relevant to our audience, and that one came up, and I was shocked at the amount of that margin.
It's nuts. It
shocked,
really
but yet not shocked, you know, because you sort of get used to it. I thought maybe things had changed in the decade since I've.
Yeah, I know. All right, hello, I'm Asha Tomlinson with CBC Marketplace. Welcome to our Facebook Live. We're also live on YouTube. And this past Friday, we did a show that was all about buying for baby. And there's a bit of inspiration there, I am expecting.
All baby all the time content now.
So, you know, I was doing my own research, soaking it all in, and it turned into this, you know, huge piece on Marketplace past Friday, talking about not only cross-border pricing and baby product deals, if we're getting them in Canada even, but also looking at product recalls, which is very important and something a lot of parents just getting the reaction in are shocked about, the fact that we could find some products that were still on store shelves and still available for sale online. So we're keeping the conversation going today, taking all of your questions, so please send them in right away. We will answer them as best as possible. I'm here with Jeni Marinucci, and she is a blogger and editor-in-chief of YMC. You've covered pretty much every baby topic under the sun. So just, you know, tell the audience online a little bit about yourself. You have 2 kids.
I do. I have a son and a daughter. I have a daughter who is 18, so a little far removed from the baby element, but I remember it like it was yesterday. You'll soon discover how quickly it does go.
I may have you on speed dial.
So she's 18. She's off at university now, and I have a son who's 13. So it's been a couple of years since we've bought baby things, but my line of work, I'm the editor-in-chief at YMC.ca, cover all content related to moms at every stage. We believe in the stages of motherhood, which is to say you can be a mom to a newborn while being a mom to a teen. Kudos to those women, as well as, you know, wanting content for the woman without the mom aspect. So we do cover all aspects of parenting. So definitely baby items, baby products, baby care is high priority for us. So we do discuss this stuff at length.
Which is why we're talking to her today. And you have her live and direct, so please send in your questions. Of course, we're looking at how we can get the best for our little ones, but not breaking the bank, because let's face it, I mean, it is expensive to raise a child, and through the course of like from newborn to 18 plus, I mean, some right into the 30s if they're living at home still. Nothing wrong with that.
No, but it's the sign of the times.
Yeah,
right?
but it's costly. It can really add up. I know, especially in that first year, like I'm thinking about with mat leave and everything, you're already looking at trying to budget with, you know, the whole being off for a year.
And absolutely, and think of it, if you can save a few $100s in the baby years, take that money and amortize it across the span of your active parenting career.
For sure.
That's a lot of money in the end. So you definitely want to try to save while still keeping an eye to safety and an eye to some level of comfort for yourself as parents, products that make the job easier. So it can be complicated, and it also converges at a time in your life when, especially if it's your first baby, you may not know what you need, you may not know how much of one thing you need. And marketers are you know, they know that. So there's certain elements that get you with the emotional hook. So it is a good idea to do as much research without purchasing that you're able to before hitting buy or opening your wallet.
So consider this research for sure. Let's go with, what are the top 3 tips when it comes to shopping for a newborn?
So I would say first is to make a list, and this can be what we would call like your blue sky list. Make your list of everything that you think that you will want or need. And there are several ways to do that. It can be an actual physical list. It can be just a bunch of screenshots from an online retailer, even if you don't end up buying the items there. But I would say to do your research for this list. So ask other new parents. Ask a new parent, maybe give them 6 or 8 months and say, what did you find that helped you most? And maybe what did you find, what was a product that you really felt you could have done without? So gather that information. and then compile a list. And then I would say divide it. So have your must-haves. You must have, most families must have
diapers.
Diapers. Yes, that is definitely a must. You do not want to bear with. Although there is a nod to that's a
The
whole
cotton
other.
diapers, yeah.
I did do cloth diapers actually, and that is
wow.
one way to save money. But if
Wow.
you don't have access to a washing machine, it can be a bit much to truck those to a laundromat.
Right.
But things like strollers, you're going to want a place for the baby to sleep. So even co-sleepers will generally want to have something where the baby can sleep on its own, even if it's just for napping. You may not need a full crib, and if you're in the city and it's tight for space, a full crib may not be correct for you. So that drives home to the point that this list will be different for everyone, and you don't need to justify what your list looks like to anyone. You know, your mother may tell you must have a crib. Maybe you don't.
Yeah,
So make
you can
that
use
list
the
first.
that. I've heard you could use that up into 6 months.
Babies sleep on the floor on a blanket if it's a safe area for them to do so. So make a list, definitely, and have an idea of what you want to get. And a rough budget is a good idea. Secondly, explore secondhand or resale. There are lots of larger national chains that sell baby things reused. There are also many, many retailers in Canada that are privately owned, storefront, and not just in smaller towns. Often big cities will have a few of these places to purchase reused content. And also look for sales, because when things do go on sale, you really can save a lot of money, and a sale or online. So when I say reuse, that could be in a storefront. It's also Kijiji is one, eBay. There are some resellers on Amazon. So make a list with a rough budget. Let everyone you know that you are having a baby, because people will be looking to get rid of things, and explore sales, flyers, and online retailers.
I like that. So hope you're jotting that down. If it is pertinent to you, we've got our first question in.
Sure.
And just to recap, in our story that aired this past Friday, we talked about recalled products. We spoke with a couple who found a car seat on Amazon, and it wasn't until they purchased it, it showed up at their home, and they checked the model number. They found out it was under recall. We were able to find a toy at Toys R Us that was under recall, still for sale though. And also we found some recalled products on eBay. So, you know, a lot of people are asking about how do you really know, and how do you ensure that what you're buying, especially online, because that's what people are doing these days. How do you ensure that there's products that are safe on there, that you can make sure those are the products you're buying? So Mazid Suman asked, are online baby products of different new brands safe for baby?
So I'm thinking that they're maybe referring to some of the newer items. So I know that there are now foam seats where you can place baby in, and I've seen something recently for babies in the bathtub. So these new products that are really brand new to the marketplace, they're new developments and perhaps haven't had a test run. So things that are recently released, the best way I would suggest to look for those is first Google the heck out of everything.
Yeah.
If you can, even get a serial, and this would go for if you're buying. So this tip would apply to not only brand new products in the marketplace, like those seats or bathing equipment that we're just starting to see, as well as items that you're purchasing used online. Ask the seller, or if you're buying it in a store, look for the model and serial number, and then Google that model and serial number with the word recall or warning.
Yeah.
Because if you just Google the name or the serial number, you may just get review sites. You want to flag that for recall or review or safety issues, any number of those terms, so that Google is just also drawing a bit of the negative, which is, it's an exciting time, it's fun, but you really need to keep an eye to safety. So especially for things that are brand new in the marketplace, they haven't been tested enough to know after 8 months, do they fall apart and cause a choking hazard? They've only been in the market for 6 months, so we don't know that.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, I'm on a bunch of apps, like What to Expect When You're Expecting, The Bump, there's a couple of others that I'm on. And I find if you go into the mommy blogs, even the parent blogs, it's not always moms, but it's interesting because sometimes you'll see certain products that other parents, expectant parents are thinking about or wondering about, and it gives you an idea at least to hear reviews from other people.
First-hand reviews are great, especially if it's someone you know, and when I say you know them, these days that means you know them online even. You don't even necessarily have to see the product in action in real life. And luckily, parents and new parents are some of the most inclusive audiences we've dealt with. They really want to help you. A parent will be almost brutally honest with you and say, you don't want that, it's crap, or you have to get this. It allowed me an extra 10 minutes of time to keep baby entertained so I could get something done. And both moms and dads, partners of all stripes, are willing to come together and help new moms.
Sure.
People like to talk about what they know, and new parents know baby products. So definitely join some of these communities. YMC, our Facebook page, has a very engaged parenting community. We actually have a Facebook page called YMC Baby.
Okay.
It's a Facebook group that is specific for baby issues and meant for a forum as discussion.
I'll have to join that.
Yes, I'll invite you in after following the show today, where we talk about just that. And we found that because we've centered it for new parents and parents of babies, it's okay if that's all we talk about there, because that's the stage of motherhood that you're in.
Yeah.
So lots of advice to be had from in real life and online communities for sure.
And I know this means doing more homework for people, but check Health Canada's website.
Absolutely.
I mean, they do have a list.
They have an app actually as well.
Oh, okay.
Health Canada does have an app for recall, so it's not a bad idea to take it with you because it's an app, totally portable. You are in the aisle of a department store or you're online with Amazon, have it running in another window, and just quickly cross-reference. It's laid out pretty easily, and not only Health Canada, there are a lot of third-party applications, a lot of them that will catch items that may have been manufactured in the United States and that are for sale here in Canada.
Right.
So that might help bridge that gap with what Marketplace discovered, in that a lot of these items for recall are still for sale.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I can say too, CBC Marketplace Facebook, we're always posting recalled products, alerts and the like, and we also do that on Twitter, so that's a place to go as well. We've got a comment from Terry Stewart McVeigh, and she says, often used baby items are in awesome condition. They aren't used very long. I often look for products on Kijiji and Facebook groups. Now, a colleague of yours, we interviewed for our online piece, Kelsey Hamilton.
Twins.
Oh yeah,
so
she's
double everything. Or
she's about to deliver.
Yeah, I think maybe actually, you know what? We can give her a call. She don't need to leave her.
We're gonna have to help her out. And yeah, so she mentioned to me that she was able to find a twin stroller travel system for $1,400 less than the retail price.
$1,400
on Kijiji.
I'm thinking, if you put that money today in a college or university savings fund, I was talking about earlier, but amortize that savings over the span of your parenting career. It's incredible. So Terry's on the money, no pun intended, with that one. I was saying to Asha before the show started today that baby items are so gently used. In many cases, they only fit or are suitable for baby for a period of weeks. That you get things brand new at less than half the retail value. So, I mean, really, that's a huge opportunity for savings, is to investigate those opportunities.
I have a coworker, and she has all boys. So she says, if I have a boy, I'm not finding out. I'm set. She'll bring me a box of clothes that I could probably use for 6 months.
That absolutely will happen, and that's why I was saying, tell everyone you know, because you will be inundated. You will have 17 snowsuits, but it's nice. You get to pick the one that's best suited to your lifestyle.
Yeah, and you're right. They're only in it for a little while.
Such a short amount of time. Because you do, when you're looking at what items to purchase too, you do want to keep an eye to your living space. Kelsey is here in the city. She's here in Toronto. So twins already is a massive, that fills the space. So a double stroller. So if you don't need a double stroller yet, but you want to buy one because it's a good deal and you're going to have another baby soon, you want to weigh that with how it will affect your living style in terms of where you have to walk around this thing every time you want to leave the front door.
Just to recap, this is our Facebook Live. We're also live on YouTube. I'm Asha Tomlinson with CBC Marketplace. This is Jeni Marinucci. She is the editor-in-chief and blogger at YMC. And we're talking about scoring the best baby product deals along with recalls and how to know the products you're buying are safe. So we're having a discussion, keeping the conversation going after we aired a story this past Friday about these topics. So we have Jennifer Alvarez, who says here, so send us in your questions and your comments, which is what I'm doing right now. We will read them on the air and get to anything, any topic you want that deals with the content that we're talking about today. So Jennifer Alvarez says, sign up for the Amazon Diaper Club.
Oh, okay.
I don't know about diaper clubs.
Yes,
Let's go there.
I'm a little bit past the diaper club. I'm now in the school supplies club. So you can subscribe on Amazon. There's certain products that if you know that you're going to be reusing them. So my daughter is an artist. I know she's going to burn through some charcoal pencils every 6 to 8 weeks. I can automatically subscribe to have Amazon send me a new package every 6 to 8 weeks. So it's almost like a custom catered subscription package, and they have it available for diapers. So you will get and you know, ask if you haven't yet had your baby, ask another mom, because they'll give you a rough idea of how many boxes of diapers you'll need in the first few weeks, and to just be able to avoid making that, even if it only happens once, to avoid that 1 midnight run to the corner drugstore in your pajamas, your snore guard's still on, because you will do it. To know that every 6 weeks a new box of diapers will be at your front door is a huge time saver.
So how does that work? So you decide which brand you want, for example, and then it's just a recurring charge on your credit?
When you go into Amazon and you search up the brand of diapers that you think you're going to use, it will typically, not all brands do it. I know diapers do it for sure. A lot of products have it now if they're consumables. And they'll flag you and ask you if you want this to be a subscription item. If you say yes, there's a little button there that you can push to get more information, and it will let you know, or you can set it yourself as to how often they will resend it. It will automatically charge the payment option of your choice. So whether that's your PayPal, your credit card, it'll automatically draw from there. So just really knowing, I have more diapers coming in the morning. And she's not incorrect. It's an excellent option for new parents.
So you get it even before you need it, I would imagine.
I would try to maybe buffer. If someone tells you every 6 weeks, get a box of 1,000. I know that sounds crazy, but it's probably not that far off. Maybe book it for 5 weeks. It's better to have a bit of a stockpile and never be out.
Okay. Wow, thanks for that. That's something I'm going to look into. See, this is why I'm loving this right now. I can't lie. There's a bit of selfishness here.
No, this is good stuff. And you know what? You're sharing it with everybody.
Exactly.
So it's not just for you.
So Scott Slade asks, would you recommend Costco for baby purchases? I find they actively contact their customers who purchase items that are recalled because they have a database of all your purchases.
Costco is really, really good for that. We've had things from Costco in the past where they've done that. They send me an email directly, and as long as you don't flag them for junk, you do get them in your inbox. Costco is a great place for baby products. And you know what? It's a popular place. It's a good place to go for indoor walks when you're on mat leave.
No kidding.
So yeah, they are. That's a really good point. They're very great at flagging, because oftentimes if you aren't doing that investigation yourself, there's so many channels that a recall needs to travel through before it gets to the end consumer, especially if you've bought it. If you've bought the product secondhand or off a third-party seller, that information may not trickle down to them. So when you do purchase products at Costco, you are paying full price, but the prices are reasonable.
And it's in bulk.
It's in bulk, so and they also do sell. I've seen strollers and car seat systems and clothing. So they do have a lot of what the baby would need.
Oh, okay. I don't have a Costco membership, but it is something I'm considering because I hear that. Yeah, seriously. And I hear there's so much to look at as well and so many deals. So there you go. I also have an update about the couple Shireen and Les from my story last week. They were the ones that bought that car seat that ended up being recalled. They bought it on Amazon. When it showed up at their house, they checked the model number, and what do you know? It was under recall. They didn't have a clue about it. They were waiting for parts to get to them. But I mean, it's the clip, right?
It's still so scary. Even when I don't know if I trust myself to replace a part, and for anytime there's an option, just to return it.
Yeah. Well, and they say that the clip can cause a choking hazard to a child, but Les was also wondering, well, what if the clip breaks and this child, is in their car? I mean, then it becomes unsafe for a number of other reasons, obviously, if they're driving on the roads. But what was interesting is they found a new car seat. They decided to buy in-store. Shireen made sure to check for any recalls before purchasing, before getting to the till and buying it. And they went to Bye Bye Baby, and they said that there's actually right at the front of the store, there's pillars with all the recall notices. I haven't heard of any other stores. I know some stores do have some notices somewhere, but apparently this is fairly, you know, visible.
New. Maybe they
in the
watched
store.
CBC Marketplace, and I mean, I don't know what the catalyst was, but that's a really great idea to have it posted right there. Where you don't even see that at grocery stores.
Well, that's the thing, and I know there's not a lot of Bye Bye Babies, but I know there's one in Durham because that's where I live.
Kudos to them. That's a great idea.
So that's another option in terms of knowing what you're buying and understanding, you know, and doing your research.
And for people who I know, often I would hear choking hazard, and I would think, your baby is going to put everything he or she can in his mouth. If they can put it, that's tactile, right? That's how they feel. So
for sure.
For people who think, oh, choking hazard, what are the chances? From your lips to, because it could happen at any time that's preventable.
Oh yeah, and their little hands are so quick. I mean,
and that's how they discover the world, is it's oral. It's in their mouth. Taste it, bite it. What does it feel like? So,
As you can see, we can throw any question at Jeni Marinucci, Editor-in-Chief of YMC.
I'll never host a recipe blog.
So please.
Baby related, bring it on.
So funny. So send them in, please. This is your chance to really talk about scoring baby product deals and anything to deal with product safety when it comes to buying for baby. We do have a question here from Emily Charles Donaldson. And she says, get the parents a membership to the Sharing Depot in Toronto. They have a toy section where kids can borrow different toys every week. Think about it. Kids get tired of toys within hours. Why waste money buying all these toys? I actually have heard this, that you would buy something for, you know, some parents have told me they bought something for their
Christmas
kids.
is coming. You will discover, and Hanukkah gifts and Christmas, you will discover next week.
And they play with it for an hour, and then it's like, meh, I'm done.
That's a fabulous tip for any age. And usually these toy lending libraries will go up to 7, 8 years old even.
Wow.
And they're a great way to discover if your child will really loves an item. So we're from a smaller town outside the city, but even our smaller town had a toy lending library. It was attached to the community center, and the toys are completely disinfected after use. They're gently worn, but what I would do is I would borrow the toys, and then if my daughter or son really enjoyed them, then I could make a mental note. That's worth spending the money on. So it's almost like a try before you buy option as well. It's also great for different stages, because babies rapidly go through these stages of of development. Where 1 week it's all about what can they hear, and the next week they need something to chew on, and the next week it's something fuzzy and soft. So to be able to get these things quickly without breaking the bank. And another quick tip I thought of related to that is buying in bulk. So if you do go to Costco, if you're buying your formula, say at Costco, if you're nursing or you're supplementing, or if you're bottle feeding, and it's just this massive case, split it with a friend or somebody who you know close by, so you don't have to go home with 900 cans of formula. Split the savings and then split the product.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, I think about, there's a few coworkers I know who are roughly around, you know, as far along as I am, and I could just call her up and be like, let's do that, or let's half the formula, or whatever.
And that
it is.
goes for maternity clothes too. So even before baby comes, things that you might have to buy as a mom, buy used, buy online, share them with a friend.
Wow, I'm getting so much information. I hope you are too. We have a question from Carlos Aviard. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Please excuse me if I am not. But Carlos asks, what's a good gift for a 1-year-old?
1-year-olds are my absolute favorite. I always tell my kids, when you were 1, they're no longer these fragile little babies that, of course you're so careful with them, but a 1-year-old sort of has their personality is really coming into development. Because their personality is coming into development, if you're close with the child that you're purchasing the gift for, you can almost see where they're headed. So for instance, I knew my daughter was very tactile, loved to touch things. So we would get her like a play mat or something that was interactive. So this was, she's 18 now, so this was before the digital age. I'm sure her and an iPad would have been crazy. But she would like to play with things, so like stacking blocks, and things that would garner a response. Whereas my son was a little more subdued. So when he was 1, he wanted things that he could just kind of observe. They would have different kinds of walkers. He was a 1-year-old are generally starting to be a little more, some babies are completely mobile at 1. Many are at least making their tentative first steps. So often things that they can put, a push cart that has some activity on it are great for 1 year old. And
I know there's a learning walker we were shopping for, and it has all kinds of things that light up and you can play with, something like that.
I always think of children as being, they are almost from another planet. It's like going to another planet and you know nothing. Everything is a new discovery, and how exciting that must be. And yet frustrating because they don't have oftentimes the verbal skills. So anything that really hinges onto all of their senses. So the learning walker, they're mobile, they're getting to see the world from a position of, they're looking out rather than up or down. So it gets them upright, and it's a whole other plane of existence that they haven't known about before. So learning walkers are a great option for a 1-year-old child.
Speaking of that, you mentioned being tactile and the iPad, and I know that kids are getting younger and younger. They're being introduced to the online world, to the iPad touch and learn world. Is there an ideal age, though, for kids to be introduced to electronics?
Okay, so without judgment, because I don't have a baby in the digital age, but I certainly can understand the challenges it presents. But I believe that the recommendation is as little, 0 to little screen time before 2.
Before 2,
That's from pediatricians.
Wow.
So that's the recommendation.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes those recommendations are made knowing that that's the best case scenario.
Right.
Because I will tell you, if iPads had been, they were around, but in a very more rough-hewn way when my son was a baby, because I am telling you, I would have strapped an iPad to them.
Well, I think about my niece and nephew, and they knew how to play with the phone before I even knew what to do with some of these things.
Listen, for parents, especially new parents, sometimes you're survival mode.
Yeah.
So
100%.
if it's what it takes, sometimes it's survival mode. I think that as long as the child is getting a lot of they need a well-rounded experience. So obviously iPads and digital applications are not the ideal for all of their waking hours. They need tummy time. They need to be on a mat. They need to be, as I was saying, looking at the world from different perspectives. So, but we would never judge a mom for using one, because we know sometimes that is what's going to get you through the afternoon. So,
Krista Lamb comments, make sure to take into account the number of diapers in each box. So I'm assuming we're going back to the Amazon recurring
You have
purchase.
A great audience, because these are wonderful tips. Because what will happen is when you buy, so the boxes are generally the same size
Diaper Club,
in dimensions.
that's what it's called, yes.
But newborn diapers, have you seen one, Asha?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure they're
will
adorable.
fit in the palm of your hand. They are teeny tiny. So in one box, you may get 110 diapers. So in your mind, you're thinking we use a box of diapers a week, a box of diapers a week. Well, you move up to the next size, you're only getting 80 because they're slightly bigger. And then by the time you get to toddler and up into towards the potty training years, you're getting like 6 diapers in a box. Because they're so much bigger, but the box sizes don't change very much. So that's a great tip. If you've got it in your mind that you're going to use 2 boxes a month, in the newborn stage, it's going to be completely different formula. When you move to larger sizes.
And I would imagine you go through more, as a
newborn
newborn
diapers, honestly, you're looking
compared
at
to the
some
older
10
age.
to 12 a day. 10 to 12 a day when they're newborn.
10 to 12
And if you nurse, if you breastfeed, it can often be every time you feed.
Well, I'm going to get a little TMI,
I
know.
No, that's fine.
Of a parent who's, they said there's a stream or an explosion, and it's like just as you put on a new diaper, apparently.
They know.
And it's like, they just go all over again.
You are changing in the new nurse. I nurse my children. My son had a little bit of formula, so it was a little slower. But we used to joke that my daughter, she's gonna love this. She's like, "Thanks, Mom. I'm gonna drop this link on your Facebook page." It's a straight line. It goes in, the nutrients are quickly absorbed, and it comes out. So you go through a lot of diapers.
I can
imagine. Even parents who decide to cloth diaper, we did cloth diaper for a few months.
Wow.
But not at the newborn stage.
Okay. I was gonna say more power to you.
Yeah, it's a lot of laundry. We did it as it slowed down a little, as the production line slowed down. But we moved to cloth.
Scott Slade asked, would you recommend avoiding buying used car seats? This is a really good question, because I know a lot of people to obviously stay within budget. I mean, again, we're talking about how long are you using these products for and these items for. So what would you recommend in terms of that?
I think if it can be avoided, I think buying car seats brand new is ideal.
Okay.
I think in situations where it cannot be avoided, because I'm sensitive that not everybody has the same degree of monetary,
of course.
Not everyone is in the same position where they can purchase, because they can be quite expensive.
Yeah.
I would say if you have to buy used, to just be very diligent about the research that you do and make sure that you are not only checking with the buyer if you buy brand new, but also check the serial number and model numbers. If you are purchasing from a reuser or online or on Kijiji, make sure you do your own research. Don't count on the seller to do that. They may say they've done it, and they very may well have, but you want to take that responsibility on yourself as much as you can. If you don't have a lot of money to spend on a car seat, you can buy a brand new car seat that's not as expensive. It may not last you as long. It may be built just for 0 to 1. Whereas if you do have the money to spend, you can buy car seats now that apparently will take them from newborn to pretty much till they're driving.
Yeah.
They're in car seats for so long. These convertible car seats are great, but they do last a really long time, so they are quite expensive. So.
And just a note based on the story of the couple from our marketplace piece, but they couldn't check on the car seat and whether it was under recall until they received it. So maybe before you make the purchase, if it is an independent seller on a site like Amazon or eBay, maybe ask them, could you send me the model number
Ask them for
so
a
you
photograph.
can do your homework? Oh yeah,
Ask them
that's
for a
even better.
photograph, because sometimes there's a UPC code there,
Right.
or sometimes I've even seen QR codes. So I would ask them for, and that's, you know what, that shouldn't put off a seller. And I would say that if you have a seller who balks at that, it's one photograph they need to text you. It's not a big deal, and you are well within your rights as a parent who's concerned about safety to ask for that. If they balk at that, no deal. So ask for a quick photograph of the serial number, because you want to make sure that they haven't removed it.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh, I'm so cynical sometimes.
Right,
Like worst case scenario, that they haven't removed it and that it's not obscured, or that they're just making one up. So I would ask for a photograph, actually, when possible.
Yeah, so that's a way to get around it before you buy it, and then you're hooped, right? Suhel Malhotra says, Parent Life Network was a very helpful group on Facebook when we were learning about parenthood. And let's talk about parenting Facebook groups. There are a lot of them out there. You can't join every one.
No, there's a lot. What we find is a lot of parents will join one large one for the searchability. So you may not be able to follow these streams because they're continual. You could do nothing but go on Facebook, but they've got great searchability, because chances are someone in the world who's on this Facebook group will ask the question you have in mind. And then they'll also join a more localized one. So I'm from Milton. We have a Milton Moms Facebook page that is run independently in town by some lovely women. And we can post local issues there. And that was also a great place to do buy and sell items locally. So not only are you purchasing something and saving some money, you know who you're buying it from. So I think that adds an additional layer of culpability almost. Like, you know, you're buying it from someone who lives in your community. It's implied that there's some trust there, and I would like to hope that there's that additional layer. So yeah, we find that usually people will join a large national. We do have one for babies, YMC. It's YMC Baby. And we also have a YMC Junior for when they're a bit older, and we have a YMC Teen, because if you ever want to talk about teenagers.
I'm not there, and I don't even want to be there for a long time.
Let's set up a tent, because we could do it for a while. But you know, it's all good. All stages of parenting, all stages of motherhood are wonderful. There's no time that you will worry quite as much as you will with the babies. So
yeah, and it's interesting with the groups, I guess. How do you suggest, you talk about searchability, but how do you suggest you pick a group and join a group that would cater to what you're looking for?
So I would look for tone. So when you join a group, my advice would, when you first join a Facebook parenting group, is just be an observer for a little while. So maybe don't jump into any threads. Certainly if you have information that is very specific and you know will help someone, don't hold back on that, but just kind of be an observer for a little while and get a feel for tone. There are also Facebook groups for parents that are catered to specific communities. So if you know that you're part of a specific community, so when I was raising my son, I nursed him. So I had a group that I joined for general parenting, and then I also joined a nursing group, so that I knew that I could go there and get support for that specific issue without kind of getting in the way of the other streams. So look for specialized groups. There are so many. And I would also say too, there's something that if you cannot find what you're looking for, start one. If it's so niche,
that's true.
That's a great way to find other people. But start out with some main groups and have a primary one, and then have a few others. They're great place to get support in the middle of the night.
They really are.
When no one, you can't call a relative, you can't call a friend, or you could if they'll answer.
Yeah. But you feel, I mean, a lot of the times you may feel your problem is you're the only one that has that problem, and then you find groups where everybody's talking about it, and it's that sense of solidarity.
And that time of new motherhood, you will worry about things that certainly you think that you're the only one and you're not.
Yeah.
And that's so good. Even though if it actually is an issue and it's something you still need to take care of, just knowing that you're not alone is at least 85% of the battle, and knowing that someone else is experiencing this as well. So for that reason, Facebook and other digital platforms have been a boon. I used to go on Twitter and search. So even though it might not be a parenting group, but if I had an issue specifically, I'd go on Twitter and search the term. And then I'd be able to pull up people from all over the world that were maybe dealing with that. So it really is like having that access to that village that's gone right at your fingertips.
Keep sending in your questions, your comments, really enjoying what you have to say so far. And Jeni Marinucci is here from YMC, and she's really, I mean, you're getting to the point we're learning so much, and we're also sort of bonding and finding out, finding out a lot about the parenting world.
I'm not doing it again, but I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
And it goes so quickly, and it's such a great time. And of course, with baby products, your primary concern is always for the rest of your life.
Yes.
For the rest of your life
will
be the safety, health, and happiness of your child.
Sure.
So it's important stuff.
Cindy Henderson says, sign up for coupons for the brands that you're going to be using. The one thing I find with that is that you go on some of these sites, you have to give so much information to get a coupon back. Is it worth it?
Some of them are. It's going to take a bit of research, but luckily or unluckily, I would say, in the first few weeks, you're going to be doing little other than feeding that baby. And now being able to have the access to do a bit of research, to drive back to the idea of the Facebook groups, that's a great place to get information over what apps might be the best. Because some don't ask for a lot. It's just merely you show up and scan your code. Others want your blood type, how many kidneys you currently have. A lot of things they need from you, and those I'm always personally a little leery of. But a lot will just ask for your basic information and then just provide you with the code to scan it, register.
Okay. Marion Balan asks, what's your take on petroleum Vaseline? Is it safe? Now, that's an interesting question because I know a few years back there was, the whole story around the baby lotion.
And there was the powder. I know there was
the powder as well, but I heard the baby lotion had parabens in it. They've now removed that from what I understand, but there was a lot of concern.
That's my understanding as well, is that
around what to use with your child.
Anytime you are going to put something on or in your child, I would say, on, like, in terms of a medical treatment of some sort, I would definitely advise that you check with your doctor, because some children will be fine with it, others not. So if you have a child with, say, eczema, Vaseline can often do a great job as a barrier cream at keeping moisture out. For other babies who don't really need that additional layer of lubrication or don't need that moisture barrier, it may be better just to avoid it. But anytime it's something on or in your baby, I would definitely advise that you check with your pediatrician. Just make it a quick little question at your next checkup. Or there are several medical websites that are monitored by actual physicians where you can ask a question like that to test out how it would work best for your family.
Because I know some parents may use Vaseline for, say, a diaper rash or something like that.
My mother-in-law, that's her go-to for everything. Like, put some Vaseline on that. Oh, Nona.
Put it on your face.
Nona, your skin's so beautiful. Vaseline! Because that's and it hasn't done her any harm, seemingly. So it can be a great product. It just may not be for everyone. So it's definitely something you want to check on an individual basis. And it's a quick question. And doctors have heard it before. Never be afraid to ask your doctor anything. They may have answered the question 1,000 times, but you haven't heard the answer 1,000 times. So a good doctor, she'll be receptive to your questions.
And I think that goes with anything you want to use on your child. If you're not too sure, it's always good to ask your family physician or the pediatrician about it.
Right, especially things that aren't created for bodily use typically. Like, I don't think olive oil is harmful at all. I think it's lovely, but it may not be. There's an olive allergy that is previously diagnosed. Like, just be careful. Just be careful and ask.
So if you had to choose, and I mean, both have pros and cons, I'm sure, but when we're talking about buying in-store versus online, what would you suggest there?
Well, I think you need to look at what the product is, because as you said, there's pros and cons to both. So it's sort of difficult to say one over the other in most cases. For things that you're going to, the parent or the person who's helping you care for the child will be actively involved in, I would say at the very least go look at it in the store. So strollers. You buy a stroller, your friend has a stroller, you've pushed it for her, it works fine, you go and buy it online because you know the product works. You get it home, your partner's 6'5". Can't push the bars without
6'1".
without hunching over. So what do you do now? That's not comfortable for him. Or you've only pushed your friend's stroller in an urban setting where she lives. You are rural. The tires on this thing won't navigate your street, which happens to not be paved. So I think that at least looking at the product in store, where it's possible, especially as I said, if it's something that you are physically going to be involved with, a crib. If you are a short person.
I'm 5 feet, so.
Well, okay, so this is the thing.
So that
cribs,
actually, like 5 feet, and my partner's 6'1". I mean,
so there you go.
I actually have that issue.
You need a middle ground because cribs went to the drop side cribs. Some now have acknowledged that issue by having a foot bar to lower the side, but some still have the tabs inside.
Right.
And if I call it your wingspan, if your arms don't stretch that far, then you're going to be opening the crib like this, which is not good for the structural integrity.
Right.
So things like that, you want to at least feel them, and then you can always go back to online to see if you can find it for a better price. I would say too, some smaller retailers, if you often take them the price, you want to shop
Price
locally.
match.
See if there's the opportunity to price match, so you can at least give a local business the opportunity to make the sale.
Definitely, our expert in the story said that. You know, if you can go cross border, because that's what he advocates for.
Yes.
Yeah, price match. If you see something at another retailer, but your favorite, you know, is more expensive, then say, hey, I got this for this much over there, but I want to buy it here. And see what they say.
And then repeat items like diapers online is fine because you know they're tried and tested. You've used them before. You're just getting it there for the sake of the convenience.
Right. We're getting close to wrapping up, so please send us your questions and your comments before it's too late. Jeni Marinucci is here with us for a few minutes more, and as you can see, she knows all things baby deals, baby safety.
I'll take it.
She's our buying for baby expert, no doubt about that. So we have a question here from Catherine Polacek. Best place for a registry?
Oh, it's, you know what, it's so sad because we used to have, I would have said, go to Sears.
Right.
Go to Toys R Us. I mean, it's still here, but we know that there's some changes coming. You can do Amazon, or one really neat thing that you could do is you can make your own. And this will allow the people, start a Google Doc. Start a Google Doc, give everyone access, have your mother-in-law or your mother or your sister, your best friend, or your brother, whoever is throwing a shower for you, if that's the intention, drop them the link.
Right.
They can go into the Google Doc. They can make a little note that they purchased it because that allows them to find the best deal. And we're talking about saving money. So if you're locked into a registry at one place, you're paying the price that they've dictated.
Right.
Whereas you can probably get that stroller or that set of onesies for a lower price. So if you make a document on Google Doc or a OneDrive, anything on the cloud, you've custom catered your own. You could
even build a website.
You could build a website. You could even drop the links into exactly what you want. So rather than just saying on the registry stroller, here are the 3 that I like.
Right.
Here are the 3 that I like. I've done the research, because when you're getting gifts, you can't be assured that they've done the research for you.
Right. That's an interesting thing. So before the shower, should parents buy anything, or should they wait to see what they need? Because maybe they'll get double.
I'm of 2 minds with that. It's funny. For your first, I felt like I couldn't relax. I remember being 7 months pregnant, putting together a crib by myself.
Oh, wow.
Because, while my husband was at work. I didn't even wait for him. I wanted to, because in my mind, it had to be done. Although in my case, it was good because I actually ended up in the hospital for a few weeks before I had her.
Wow.
It was all fine, but due to blood pressure. So I liked knowing that things were in place. So some people who are type A, who might want to have that stuff ready.
I haven't bought a thing.
Okay, so I would say some people do well flying by the seat of their pants, and that's their personality. It probably drives their mothers crazy to know they don't have this stuff. But other people, if it will give you any comfort in the final weeks to feel prepared, I would say go ahead and start buying, but maybe understand if there is going to be a shower, if there is going to be some event, maybe hold off on the things that you don't need in that first week or 2. Yeah.
Right.
You need a car seat.
Yes.
They will not let you leave the hospital. Or at the very least a stroller. If you're in the city and you're going to be walking home, I would say at least you take a cab.
Oh my goodness,
You're not walking. You're not walking home. You're
I hope no one has to walk home after giving birth.
My roommate did.
Oh
but she was relishing it. Can't wait to get outside. Who is this person?
Crown goes to her.
It was in March. It was my favorite
God,
part of
she's
my
a queen.
She's amazing. We've stayed friends for the duration. But if you don't need it in the first few weeks, I would say maybe wait, because the opportunity for gifts will save you the money.
Yeah. And one other thing, just in terms of budgeting and what you need to buy, do you need to buy? You said you don't need to buy everything at once, but I'm thinking there are some things that you may not even use. And I know we talked about this a little earlier. You know, you think you need it. I'm sure, you know, the advertising makes you feel like you need it. But are there things that you could kind of wait on or see how it goes?
Yeah, or borrow. We've talked about the toy lending library. That was a great suggestion by a reader and a viewer. So there's that option for when they're a little bit bigger. But in terms of baby equipment, there's no guarantee your child will like it. Borrow one. They have, you know, like the little vibrating seats or the swings.
Right. Yeah.
My kids both would not tolerate them.
Right.
I wanted them. I wanted them to like them, but they just didn't. So that would have been literally hundreds of dollars that we would have spent.
Yeah.
Luckily, we bought one used and discovered it, so I just resold it very quickly. And the next one, for the next baby, we borrowed it, and same result. So we were able to not waste that money on those products. There are a lot of things that have an emotional hook that they want you to buy, but really, if you go online and search everything a baby needs for 6 weeks. There's some great articles on YMC.ca that talk about these are the things that you really need, and then here are the things that would be nice, and here are the things that you can absolutely wait for.
Okay.
So we kind of break it down by component.
That's YMC.ca.
Yes, if you search baby and newborn in the search bar, it'll bring you all the great articles there.
Okay, we have two last questions. One's from me, one's from Nahid Sultana, who says, what about dollar stores for kids' toys?
Okay, that's really great, because I actually read this morning, so part of my job as editor-in-chief at YMC is researching the recalls on a daily basis, and for the big ones that are national, we share those. And so in the process of getting ready for the day today, I did search the Health Canada app, and there is a recall on some bath products from Dollarama. So often, because they're coming from manufacturers that we don't have direct control over here, they come into the country and they're not necessarily made to the same standard that we would expect North American manufacturers to ascribe to. So this particular toy had higher levels of a certain chemical in the plastic that when submerged in warm water, it's a bath toy, could be quite harmful. So I think you need to really be careful when you're using Dollarama or dollar store, any discount store, or any garage sale. Like you're buying things at garage sales that have been used. Do the research first. And you know what? Your parents are gifted with this visceral gut feeling, and like ultimately you have to trust yourself, and if your gut even hesitates for a moment, it's not worth saving, because oftentimes you're only saving a few dollars. Dollar store doesn't sell large items. It's usually just a few dollars, so it's probably not worth for baby stuff. There, like dollar store would be great for face cloths, like for washing the baby, those types of things. But for something that they
even
actually,
decorations, like just on the walls.
But stuff that your baby's going to handle and be exposed to in, possibly in their mouth or in the bath, or necks might be tight on little onesies. So those things I would be incredibly careful about.
Yeah, and that was leading to my question is, in terms of buying used products, because a lot of parents would like to do that for some things, what do you suggest in terms of doing your research, just to be sure it's safe and not under recall?
Yeah, so if you're buying things that are used online, so either through a third-party seller like Kijiji, or used off eBay, or even used items off Amazon, or from I think most reused stores specifically catering to baby things, would be very careful. I know that we did try to take our crib to a reseller, and they said, no, we just do not sell cribs. We don't know for sure that this has a recall on it, but they're very diligent about not selling products that typically have a high rate of recall. But anytime you do that, ask the seller for a photograph of the model and serial number. Don't just ask them for it. I would ask for a photograph when possible, so that you can see the label has not been removed. And then I would Google the heck out of that thing. And I would actually cater my search. I would have a cynical eye and actually cater your search to assume worst intent. So I would type in the model and serial number, and then say the name of the stroller, and then say, is a piece of, or a recall or review, and sort of seek out those things specifically. Because oftentimes if you just put the name in, you're just going to get seller sites, and then by page 3 or 4, you've mentally, you don't have the bandwidth to go there. So I would try to cater that, like assume the worst, just to see if you can find that flagged first.
I'm sure you'll agree with me, but Jeni has been a wealth of information today.
I'm going to tell my daughter you said that because she's 18, she doesn't hear that part.
What's her name again?
Sophia.
Sophia, your mom, top notch. So I want you to reiterate again where people can find YMC content.
Sure, so come to YMC.ca, that is our home site.
Okay.
So once there, we'd love if you stuck around and you can type anything. We have a homepage that's full of beautiful content relating to all stages of motherhood. So that is from pre-pregnancy, planning and wanting to get there, all the way up to flown the nest, and we're looking at the woman outside of the mothering filter.
Right.
That's YMC.ca, and then we have several Facebook pages. We have YMC, our homepage on Facebook, where we share our content. We have great conversations. We have contests and recalls, and then we've broken down into groups now specific to audience. So we have YMC Baby, YMC Junior, and YMC Teen, where you will see me there. And those are places where it's really a forum for discussion. So ask questions. Ask questions of me, the editor. We have a couple of editors on staff. We have a great wealth of knowledge, just even in our office. We're happy to help. We want to help. We want moms and dads and parents to feel like they're part of a community, and they are that at YMC.
100%. And if you missed our story, if you want to check it out, it is on YouTube. Just search for Marketplace Baby Shopping and it'll pop up. Well, thank you so much for sending in your questions, your comments, for listening to us and for watching. Thank you again.
Asha. This is great. I'm really glad you're doing this. This is so important for people to understand and know about and not feel like they're, I'm searching serial numbers. No, it's not too much. It's a good thing.
Yeah. So that's the end of our Facebook Live. Again, Jeni Marinucci, she is the editor-in-chief of YMC.ca. I'm Asha Tomlinson with CBC Marketplace. Have a great day. Yeah, and